Polite inquiries, somewhere near the whacker where it's in the shade and not too hot.
While you watch Michael Clark trains.
Pamith asks, was it really a tour that mattered?
Tri-Series?
Tri-Series. Carlton Mid Tri-Series.
Carlton, it's the big one. England got to the final. If they are ruined and rubbish in the World Cup, just remember they got to the final. Of course it didn't. It's all a warm-up thing. And look, if we're honest, what really matters in international cricket? There are very few tournaments that do. It's all about earning money. We might as well cheer on the stock exchange if we're going to be really brutally harsh about it. So let's not be.
Gavin asks, is KP right about James Taylor? He looked out of his depth today.
He's very short, so he'll always be out of his depth, even in the foot bath in front of the pool.
He's not that short.
He's the same height as you. Yeah, they stood next to each other yesterday. They're really both very, very short.
We did notice.
I'm in a hole.
We did notice too, during the national anthems, it was a bit unfortunate when Stephen Finn was stood next to James Taylor.
And also James Taylor had a mascot or something in front of him. You know the kids they have, and they were almost the same. They could have been twins. But no, he's not out of depth. He's had one bad innings in a row. Yeah. And he shouldn't have been out anyway. It's a no ball. So the game before, what was he, man of the match? He was certainly one of the men of the match. So no, he's really good. And I'm not sure that KP thought he was that bad anyway. I've spoken to KP about him. He didn't say it was anything to do with his height anyway.
Tom Abbott asks,
Tomo,
without being the biggest Big Show fan, I feel like he's been very, very harshly criticised recently. Am I alone? No, I think it's easy to take the mick out of Glenn Maxwell because he has brain fades where, you know, he'll do a lot of brilliant stuff and creative stuff, and then he does something and you go, oh my God, that was brilliant. And it's easy to make fun of that to the point where people, I think, overlook the fact that he's amazingly talented.
He didn't come up with the nickname, did he? He didn't call himself the Big Show.
Bet he hates it.
It was Matt Wade who was just trying to big him up, I think, because I think he's quite a quiet, modest guy. And if he makes the odd mistake, you know, you've got a guy there who'll score 50 and 20 balls, 25 balls or whatever. He's going to make some mistakes. I think he's a fantastic player. If I was Australian, I would love the fact that he's in my side for 10 years. At
the Alan Border Medal last week, I was stood next to a photographer. Glenn Maxwell came up, really lovely, spoke, very polite, great interview. And then the photographer next to me says, hey, make sure you don't play one of those shots in the World Cup. You know, the one where you just watch the ball go onto your stumps.
He's a really unassuming superstar in my experience. He looks like a really good, quiet guy that Australia should be proud of.
English Nick asks, what divides opinion more, Ravi Bopara or Marmite? Vegemite, if you must.
I think
you're pretty harsh.
On Ravi?
Yeah.
I'm a big Ravi fan,
yeah.
But I think Marmite would have batted better than him yesterday.
Would Vegemite have batted better?
And would Ravi have spread well on toast? Probably not. Look, he had a bad game. He's had a bad series, no way around it. I would stick with him. And I can understand why they do, because his bowling is the insurance policy. You know, he can come on and bowl a few overs, and he was England's most economical bowler in the 2011 World Cup, you know. With the bat, he is capable of rebuilding and giving it a hell of a whack at the end. He just hasn't done it yet. I think he's a good player out of form.
What was he doing, though, at the end of that game? He was taking forever to score.
I don't know. It looked a wee bit as if he would play for a not out, which I'd hate to accuse him of, but it looked bad. It was a poor game.
Croc asks,
okay,
could the World Cup be sacked and replaced by a Tri-Series Cup played by the Big Three because they are getting all the revenue?
Okay, somewhere in Dubai, in the ICC offices, someone's just said, employ that man, and they're fitting you for a blazer as we speak. It's don't tell them, don't give them ideas.
Petri Van Zyl asks, does England miss Alistair Cook yet?
Simple deals, it is what it is. No.
Scott asks,
Hello.
what weaknesses can other teams exploit to help stop Australia winning the World Cup?
Oh, it's a few.
Yeah, it's not infallible.
They were 60 for 4 yesterday, or whatever the hell it was. They were 60 for 4, and they looks like they may have lost Faulkner as well, so I think the batting's a wee bit brittle.
George Bailey is terribly out of form, as we discussed.
Definitely, George Bailey's nowhere near, and I don't think he'll be there, to be honest. And Maxwell shouldn't be taking 4 wickets with his little offies, so they haven't really got a spin option. I think that they're a bit over-reliant on Warner and Smith. So yeah, look, they're a good side. I'm not saying they're not, but they're beatable, definitely. Of course they are.
Small Mammal asks, is that like a quokka? Death bowling. What can England do about it? Been a problem for so long.
Since the dawn of time. They could bowl some Yorkers. How about that? If I were the England bowling coach, David Saker, I might have said now, what, 4 years into the job or whatever it is, why don't you try a Yorker? Because James Anderson was the only one who even tried one yesterday. And it might have got to the stage where I'd realised the slower ball bouncer is actually a long hop. So they could sure as hell try that. I mean, the question's really, really good. It's a difficult job.
It sounds sexier to say slower ball bouncer than long hop though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure batsmen are convinced.
But it's not just, I would say, I think death bowling and the ability to contain like that is going to be one of the key factors in winning this World Cup.
Yeah, but look at all the great death bowlers in history, people like Malinga or Garner or whatever, and what do they all have? They had a really good Yorker. And I know it's difficult to bowl a Yorker, of course it is. International cricket's meant to be difficult. But if the batsman's going to move, let them move. Just hit that spot, just where their feet would be, just where the white line is in the crease. Good luck if they want to try scooping you. Just bowl Yorkers, for God's sake.
That's the strength for Australia. They've got good death bowling, Australia. Tom Banner asks, why do England make part-time spinners look like Murali?
And they make Murali look like Godzilla. I don't know, it's incredibly frustrating.
I'm just trying to imagine Murali going on a rampage through New York City,
We just have to think
people.
back to the Oval a few years ago.
Shafiq asks, does anyone think India can win the World Cup under MS Dhoni?
Well, wait there, they're the world champions. They won the very last time it was played, under MS Dhoni. Did he not win the man of the match in the final? Didn't he? Or did he not? Anyway, he should have done. Of course they can.
Mark from Madrid says, hola.
Hello, Mark.
Hola. Chris Woakes, Prince or Pumpkin?
Prince of Pumpkins. He had one bad game, he had a shocking day in the final, didn't he? I think he's done quite well. I think he's improved a lot.
That was an off day.
He had one really awful
day.
over, which went for 24, and it was bad. It's going to happen sometimes. I think he's going in the right direction. He's had quite a good tri-series. So, yeah, Prince.
But apparently he...
And not in a Purple Rain sense.
Well, I was going to say, but apparently he does make excellent soup, like pumpkin. Danny asks, is the England captaincy cursed and how can they solve it? Sacrifice a goat in the ECB chairman's office?
How about sacrificing a chairman or a president in the ECB? Do you know what cheers me? But to England, to be fair, they've lost one in a row. So, you know, what cheers me is the fact that since Giles Clark, now president of the ECB, struck oil, or his company struck oil in Paraguay, he's the biggest landowner in Paraguay, that's a fact. The price of oil has dropped by 60% in low moments. This consoles me.
Simple Man asks, has the presence of George DeBell unsettled the England team? Perhaps not, but it's definitely unsettled me. We'll see you again soon.